Hello and welcome to Not Without My Sister. Today I have some pressing questions for my sister, Rosemary McCabe. I am Beatrice McCabe. This is coming to you from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
I feel like that's your real, I work in marketing and I'm from South County Dublin voice. I love it. That's your best voice. I love it.
Okay, so today I was reading Vogue of some ilk that half the cover is missing.
Oh my God. I just realised I had a dream that I was dating her.
Florence
Pugh.
Pug?
Isn't it Pugh?
Yeah, no doubt.
I had a dream that Florence Pugh and I were in love.
Oh, she's a great actor.
She is a great actor.
I meant to pretend to be in love with you.
Okay, that's rude. That's very rude.
That was nice. That was a very woke dream.
Yeah.
She'd be tiny as well. That should make you
Oh my God. I
tiny.
didn't want to bring that up because I feel like we talk about bodies a lot.
No,
but even in my dream, I was like, she's so petite and so slim. I felt like a giant next to her.
I actually think she's very normal, sized and everything. She's tiny though, actually tiny. I mean, she's...
What do you mean tiny?
She's really small and...
short?
Short, yeah. She'd be really short. She'd make you feel like...
Well, sorry.
Really
in
tall.
my dream, fully, I felt like a giant. I felt like one of the trolls from Trolls. And she was like a tiny little doll.
I like the fact that she's very normal shaped. I mean, she's obviously thin and stuff on TV, but she's not emaciated or anything. So I mean, I
love
think
her.
she's a good represent. Yeah. I watched Don't Worry, Darling.
And you loved it?
I have never seen genuinely worse acting than Harry Styles. Absolutely. I wanted to think he was good. I wanted to be like, I think people just didn't really understand his style. But he was only remotely credible in moments where he screamed with frustration.
I think the fact that you think that's the worst acting ever is probably because you haven't seen the film After that was based on the fanfic about Harry Styles, where this American girl goes to college and meets a British tattooed Harry Styles in her college dorm and they fall in love. What's his name? Hardin Scott. HS.
I think I'd love that.
Yeah, I actually have the book somewhere. I'll lend it to you.
No, I don't want to read the book. I just want to watch the movie, thanks.
No, the movie's not good. The book's sexy. The movie's not sexy.
I don't want anything sexy about Harry Styles, thanks.
What?
I don't fancy Harry Styles, do you?
Yeah. What? Beatrice, I fancy everybody.
Okay.
But yes, I do fancy Harry Styles. Anyway,
back to the news.
This
issue? Oh yeah, issue. I was about to say episode. Jesus. Incorrect. Of Vogue. She is on the cover looking cool in a pale teal dress. And inside there is an article called A White House Wedding, about the Bidens and their granddaughter who just got married in the White House on the White House lawn. And I felt vaguely uncomfortable with this whole thing reading it. I was like, there's a lot of security, obviously, very expensive, a lot of money poured into this wedding, etc., etc. And I was like, Naomi Biden. I was like, if your grandparents were in the White House or were the president or the Taoiseach or the Taoiseach or any of these people, would you choose to have your wedding on the lawn of the formal Irish residence where they reside? Is that appropriate?
I don't even think that would even occur to me. I mean, it's very hard for me to imagine my now dead grandparents being president or Taoiseach or Taoiseach. I mean, even when they were alive. But if I'm thinking would I want to? No. I think if I was going to get married in Dublin, I'd want to get married in City Hall, which is just beautiful and so nice for photographs. I think that's gorgeous. So if City Hall was all booked up, would I get my president grandfather to pull some strings, my president grandmother? Yes. Would I want to go and get married on the lawn of Oris and Uachtaráin? No.
Well, it says here they got married on the South Lawn in front of 250 family members and friends.
I would have thought it'd be more.
In a high neck, long sleeve, Chantilly lace, Ralph Lauren dress, carrying a bouquet of sweet peas
Ralph
and lily
Lauren.
of the valley. Well, that was only for a part of it. She was accompanied down the aisle by her parents, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. In the evening, guests returned to the residence for a black tie reception with dancing, cake cutting and all that fun stuff where she wore a...
Did Vogue say all that fun stuff?
Yes. No, she said, quote, all that fun stuff, per Naomi, who wore a strapless ivory silk Mikado Ream Accra dress with her grandmother, Roberta Bewley's pearls sewn into the sweeping 6-foot train. For late night dancing, she then switched to a beaded fringed Mark Harry mini dress. Sorry, is this a bit ridiculous? Or am I the only person who thinks this is a bit ridiculous?
Well, Irish fashion blogger Suzanne Jackson wore 3 dresses at her wedding, but I actually just don't know how you'd be arsed.
But she is a fashion blogger. This one is not. This one is a rando. Oh, listen. On the Tuesday evening before her wedding, under the watchful eye of a Secret Service agent, they came downstairs from their living quarters on the 3rd floor of the White House residence to practice their first dance.
So they live in the White House, the grandchildren? That's
they?
weird.
I'm confused now.
Why do they live with their grandparents?
She's a lawyer. I don't know if I can't do this with every episode where I read something out and you start asking 100 questions.
Well, I want you to get the facts first. Next time you pick an article, I want you to get the article in Vogue and then also do some research on these people. Look them up on Instagram, find out where they live, what do they do.
Okay, since 1800, only 19 weddings and 4 receptions have been held at the White House, including 1 for president, 9 for first daughters. She is the first grandchild to wed. So, like, is that okay?
Why would you even want that? I mean, sorry. What's the question? Why does she want it? Or like, as American dwellers, are we okay with this? Or do we want to write a letter? An angry letter?
No, I'm just more like, is it appropriate? Is it tacky? Is it taking advantage? Like, is it appropriate? It's a bit like flying on a private jet, you know, when you're like on the company's dime. Like all those Secret Service agents, etc., are paid for by taxpayers' dollars. Is this slightly such relaxing times, the silence emanating from these walls while we try to do a podcast. Nobody's screaming or barking. Everybody's been best friends this weekend. It's been so relaxing, Rosemary.
I've been forgetting to do my deep breathing. Maybe I need to start doing that again.
Do you feel better? Oh.
Imagining putting all my feelings into my filing cabinet.
It's too small.
It is too small of so many feelings.
Or is it fine if your grandfather is the president? Should you just say, fuck this, I'm getting married on the White House lawn? Yes.
I think it is a bit like writing a personal letter of recommendation on headed stationery. You know what I mean? That like now we realise that's taking advantage. I think it is a little bit taking advantage. You have arguably nothing to do with your grandparents. Like your grandparents have nothing to do with you. You are related to them, but it's not your parent. President Biden's not walking you down the aisle unless he did walk her down the aisle.
But also, as a president, is it appropriate for you to be
using your work house for family parties? No.
Of this scale, like, I mean, of your own immediate family for your own party, yes, but like, is it tasteful? Is it in good taste? Or is it a slight abuse of power? In my opinion, it's a slight abuse of power, especially when you're supposed to be the people's president. That like, not everybody has, you know what I mean? It's a very lavish.
I also think it's very stupid because his approval ratings are not high. So I feel like America's attitude towards the kind of Kennedy, literati, waspy, Vanity Fair fodder, their appetite for that is low at the moment.
Vogue.
No, I know, but I'm saying this is the kind of thing that used to be in Vanity Fair. You know what I mean? The 80s and 90s. Like, even having it in Vogue now, that's tacky, actually. It's tackier to have it in Vogue than to have it in the White House in the first place.
It just seems not, I mean, I don't want to think that this is where all of the, I don't even give a shit about tax dollars. I mean, theoretically I do. But like, I want you to be focusing on other things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy for your granddaughter to get married and for you to go and for you to enjoy it. I don't think you should have to like not go because you're like, I'm too busy presidenting. But yeah, don't have it in the White House. And also, just don't keep it under wraps. We don't all need to know about it.
That's it too. I mean, I don't think I would have known about it were it not. I've read about it in multiple publications now. So it leads on to another question. Somebody said recently to me that they were going to get an internship they were submitting their child for an internship in their company. Is that appropriate?
On paper, no, but it still happens in, I'd say, every company in the world.
No, it happens everywhere. Of course it does. But is it an unfair advantage? And is it a like, what's it called? An abuse of privilege, whatever.
It's absolutely an unfair advantage. It's nepotism. It provides for a sort of gatekeeping of certain industries, right? Where journalists will only ever come from other journalists because other people who want to be journalists won't get a foot in the door.
Rosemary, nepo babies, Hollywood. Okay,
yes.
Every industry.
Yeah.
But so every industry does it. Should you think long and hard about it?
Yes. In an ideal world, I think you should.
Okay, but you're not in an ideal world. So would you be happy to provide an internship for your niece, nephew, daughter's son, etc.? Would you assume that you would do that?
I think I probably would do it. I think I did do it when I was in Stellar or in the Irish Times. I think they had a kind of a more formal internship program where you had to apply and you were selected. And I think you could say, oh, my cousin's daughter is going in for that, but they might kind of look at her application a little bit more closely. You know what I mean? Like there might be a bit like, oh, that's the one Rosemary told us about, but it would be on merit more or less. But then I'm like,
you think?
I hope. But I probably would you do it?
100%. No, I don't know.
Say if one of your sons decided he wanted to be in fashion design and was like, can I come and do a week work experience with you at work? I think you would say yes.
Oh no, I'd give him a week's work experience, but that is the same thing. But also, I mean, I think about it now, like everything is about networking. Like looking for a job right now, it's all about networking. Is that not the same thing, right? Because you're networking. And, you know, I don't have high hopes of getting a job just by applying to the job cold. I think that I'm going to get it via a relationship, a contact, a friend of a friend, you know, not because they're going to get you the job, but you have more of a chance by like having that personal introduction to a role, you know?
Maybe it's not about saying we'll never give an internship to a family member, or, you know, we should cut out all kind of networking and nepotism. Maybe it's just about saying if you're in an industry where you have the power and position of privilege to be able to offer an internship or to be able to help someone in with an internship, maybe it's just about that person who's able to do that should go out of their way to find somebody who wouldn't otherwise get a foot in. So even like, you know, reach out to a college near their workplace or a school near their workplace that's maybe in a disadvantaged area and say, I don't know if you know this, but we have internships. I have a slot coming up. Could you recommend someone? And then like those are other problems because the teacher might recommend her niece, but like there's only so much you can do. But I think maybe if every person you get in the door, you go, you know what, I'm going to give someone else a hand in as well. Would that help? Kind of. I mean, it's kind of like atoning for your sins.
A
right?
Tom's Shoes model, 1-for-1.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no perfect answer, is there? Because as humans, we are always going to use our social connections to get in the door, whether it's in work or to be introduced to a friend of a friend or to join a club or join a choir or go to a new church or whatever it may be. That's just how our connections work.
I mean, you're right. And when I think about it now, I let you have your wedding in our garden, so I probably shouldn't have.
But actually, no, you should have. But now you should go downtown and find somebody who's planning a wedding and who maybe can't afford a venue and say to them, I'm happy to give you my garden.
Should you not do that?
No, you're the one who let me in. So you're the gatekeeper. You need to do it.
You bust through my gate while I wasn't looking. Maybe that's what happened to Bidens. You literally bust through my gate, became a bridezilla, hated the planning.
I became the opposite of a bridezilla. You were the one who was like, we need to have this, we need to have that. I was like, I don't want any of this stuff.
Excuse me, you didn't want to have a plan. I didn't even want, it wasn't, oh, look at the body language. I didn't even want to have a ton of things. I just wanted a plan. What are we going to do? I don't want to talk about this. It will be fine. Didn't appreciate the beautiful white hydrangeas I planted, 2 of which died.
I did appreciate those. They were lovely. The whole thing stressed me out so much.
Absolutely. It was a great day. You didn't, maybe you probably paid me back in with all the bacon that Bo ate out of the food truck. Honestly,
we didn't get a single picture of me and Brandon together that day.
What?
Just the two of us without the kids.
Oh, just the two of you?
Yeah, we didn't get
Rosemary, welcome to the rest of your life.
Oh.
Just the two of you. You're funny. What do you mean? Why would you want to be, as Mom would say, why would you want to be without the kids?
Us. It was our wedding.
With the kids. The kids are part of you now.
Not everything is about them.
That's where you're mistaken. That's where they would not agree.
I said to Brandon yesterday, I was like, you didn't even tell me I looked nice before I went out. So I had like makeup on for the first time in about 6 months. And he was like, I was busy with the kids. And I was like, Brandon, you are supposed to be looking at and thinking about me and only me.
Well, on your anniversary, potentially.
Every day.
And on your anniversary in particular.
Do you ever read those articles that are like, I love my husband more than my kids and I'm not ashamed? Have you ever read one of those? They're weird.
You know what? I was actually just thinking about this the other day. Somebody was talking about unconditional love. And I was like, do you owe your spouse unconditional love? This can be another. We can have this separate conversation. Or do you only owe it to your children? Do you owe it to anybody? But like, I think, I would think unconditional love is for your kids. For your parents?
Beatrice, stop talking. We'll answer that in a future episode.
My parents are becoming less. It's becoming more conditional.
I don't have unconditional love for them at all.
Not right now.
Not right now. I was actually just thinking of a long list of conditions if they're going to expect me to love them for too much longer. Not Mom, she's fine.
Okay, we'll have that as a separate topic.
So that's actually 2 separate topics. Falling in and out of love with your parents, and to whom do you owe unconditional love, if anybody?
Now, if only we could try and remember these.
I'll write them down.
Great job.
Thank you all so much for listening to Not Without My Sister. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. If you could, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review anywhere you listen to this, whether it's on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. I think you can leave reviews on Google Podcasts. Please, please. Or tell a friend. And actually, you know what? If you're listening to this, take a screenshot right now on your phone and share it on social media and just say what you like about it. That would be amazing for us.
That'd be top notch. And also tell us what you think. Is it okay if you're the president to let your grandchild have their wedding on the lawn?
If you're listening to this right now and you have at one stage of your life been the president of America or of Ireland, imagine if Barack Obama listened to our podcast, that'd be gas. Sorry, that'd be so gas.
I would like to. I mean, maybe more like the Taoiseach, maybe.
Maybe Leo Varadkar.
Yeah. I
Not
could see
Micheál Martin, I
him
don't
listening
think.
to it. Yeah, I'm not sure we'd be Micheál Martin's cup of tea.
No. But
Thanks.
that's his problem.
That's Rosemary. Of course, it's his problem. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Not Without My Sister is recorded in studio in Fort Wayne by Don Kirkland, who also wrote our theme tune, and the original illustration is by Lindsay Neilson.